is the Sports Hangover.
I don't know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative. It's not. It gets the people going.
Welcome to the Sports Hangover. I'm Michael Benatar, joined alongside in person J-Dog.
Is this real? Can we really touch?
This is real. It's New Year's Eve. We're recording on New Year's Eve.
We're having a marathon day. I came over at 10 a.m. for the start of, you seem excited about it, New Year's Eve football, and it goes all day. We're going to have a crab boil tonight.
Yep.
We're going to stay till East Coast New Year's at 9 p.m. Pacific time, and we're going to love it. Before we get started, Mike, I have to do a special visual shout out to those watching on YouTube because we are together. It is real. Things are looking a little different here. Right behind me is a painting.
Oh, yeah.
From a guy named Gregory Gray.
Yeah.
Gregory Gray might be our lawyer friend. He may have appeared on the Sports Hangover this year.
Yes.
This is his famous father's artwork, right?
No, this is his artwork.
But he's not famous.
No. So it was a long story, but I would say about 15 years ago, we were exchanging self-portraits of each other, artistic self-portraits. So I was doing like weird photography ones, and he was doing painting. So I said, paint me one of these. And it's been up ever since. And he has a really weird one of me framed somewhere of me in a leotard, 3 versions of me in a leotard. Yeah.
That one's a little more graphic. This one, for our listeners who are not loving this visual piece of our conversation, this is just a painting, a silhouette of a man with a third eye. And Gregory's third eye won a fantasy football championship today.
He won.
And it's a big deal, Mike, because how many years ago did he give you that?
A long time.
You said 13 years, I think
Let's
you
say
said?
13.
He's been playing fantasy football for longer than 13 years, and he's never actually won a championship until today, December 31st, 2023. Congrats to Gregory Gray.
Wow, look at that. Good for him.
Speaking of congrats, the first topic I want to get to, because we are getting to football talk here, is you made an MVP pick not long ago.
I did.
And it was Brock Purdy. How's that looking?
Yes, we have to talk. We last 2 weeks, we had some recap shows and prediction shows. Sports made an appearance. If you haven't checked those out, check those shows out. But since then, we haven't been able to talk football. And my Brock Purdy bet has gone maybe to zero. I had a lot of money on Brock Purdy to win.
To win MVP.
It looks like Lamar Jackson is now going to be MVP. I don't think today's game helped. We have the afternoon games on right now, but it's not a good time for me as a gambler. I still have hope next week. I have hope for the AFC title to go to the I was going to say the Houston Oilers.
The Oilers. Wow. We're going way back.
The Houston Texans.
You're a CJ Stroud guy, so you do have a bet on the Texans. He's got that bet left. I know your picks haven't been doing amazing, like somewhat okay.
Well, we're in first place in the picks right now.
Not in our pool. Not in the one with the real bettors in it. So there's that. We can talk about fantasy football, which you had the best team all year. You didn't win that.
I didn't win that. No one wants to hear about fantasy. I hate fantasy
football. The end of the
football.
year is just tough for the football community. If you're not at the top of the mountain, you're very upset.
What do you want to talk about? You didn't talk about Russell Wilson. I have my whole lineup here. Right.
We talked about Russell Wilson on our last show, which was our Sports show. We recapped some of our predictions. We did talk about Russell then, and you were always selling stock on Russell Wilson in Seattle. Always the guy who said it's over. And Carol and you were the only 2 people in the world who knew. Yeah. And it got worse this week. Do you want to tell the people?
Yeah, well, Sean Payton believed me as well, and he finally stepped in, and Russell Wilson is now currently, I think as the games go on, he's benched right now.
He's benched. Jared Stidham show is happening.
So it seems like a financial decision for the Broncos, which I kind of agree with. If Sean Payton doesn't want Russell Wilson, this is the right move to do. But it is really weird. I think the NFLPA got involved, said you can't do this, you can do this. Who knows what they can do? He is now benched and most likely will be on another team next year. So now is where will he go? Because I was telling you, we watch football all day. We've been together for hours. I said, there's only a few teams. There's like maybe 2 or 3, I think, actually that would want to take Russell Wilson because this is like, what do you think? He's got like 3 years left as like peak Russ before he can't do anything anymore?
Some would say he has 0 years left.
Okay.
Some would have said that when he left Seattle. You were among the people saying that. I think it's a fascinating situation where it's been playing out behind the scenes for weeks and weeks since their bye week, since they beat the Chiefs, is when the Broncos first approached him about it. He didn't let it leak. The Broncos didn't let it leak. So I'll give them a little credit there initially. What's fascinating to me is they're going to release Russell Wilson, this Walmart dynasty family that can afford to pay Russell Wilson his whole contract that he just signed. I think we did it recently where we recapped all these different contracts that quarterbacks are on. Derek Carr's new contract starts next year. Russell Wilson's new contract starts next year. That's how early on in these contracts we are. But it's the Broncos Walmart family that can pay it out, and they're going to pay it out. They're going to release him. And then the fascinating thing I was telling you earlier today, Russell Wilson will be available for the league minimum to any of these teams. And so we mentioned the Falcons, we mentioned the Titans. Are the Steelers a team? Mutual friend won't like to hear about. Do the Steelers need a quarterback?
I think the Steelers and the Falcons are the only two teams that would take them, because Ritter's not doing very well. Heineke's there. He's not doing great.
Mhm.
It seems like let's get Russ in, see what we can do with Russ. Pittsburgh makes sense too. They went through 3 quarterbacks. Mason Rudolph is in right now. And like, is he really the guy? Probably not. So I think this is the time where it's like, those are the only 2 teams. Because you could go through the rest of the teams. It's like Arizona's got Kyler Murray. We got, I think Geno Smith and Drew Lock are going to be in Seattle for
Pete
ages.
Carroll loves them. They just win games.
I don't think there's a team that really needs them. And also, there's a lot of good QBs coming in this year that rookies could start on other teams. So I think that's the big question too. And then also that then gets into, what about Justin Fields? Could it be like Justin Fields goes to Denver, Russell Wilson goes over there, and they still get a first-round pick?
I'll tell you one place Russell Wilson's not going in Chicago. I love that you segued into Justin Fields. Yeah. Justin Fields had another great game today on the last day of 2023. Somehow he was at rock bottom when the season started, and things kept getting better and better for them. Somehow they turned it around the last few months of the year. Justin Fields played well today, beat Atlanta. The Bears are now in a situation where they've clinched the number 1 pick in the draft because of that trade with the Panthers. Mm-hmm. The Panthers, I believe, scored 0 points today.
0 points. Yeah.
Wait. Did you bet on them?
I bet on them.
Okay, just that's the state of the betting situation. Great. So the Panthers score 0 points. They're in a deep shit. They are going to be picking their selection will go number 1 to the Bears. It's official. But what do the Bears do now with Justin Fields playing good ball? The report came out recently. They're going to keep the head coach. They have the number 1 overall pick. They have their own pick, which is going to be around number 10. So they have 2 high picks. It's about 10. They keep winning. So it keeps going
Panthers
up.
have the first overall pick.
And that's number 1. Yeah. The Bears have their own pick too, but that keeps getting worse because they keep winning games, which they're okay with. But what do? Do they trade Fields? Do they draft Caleb Williams? Do they keep Fields? Or as our friend Big Cat on Pardon My Take said this week, did you see this one where he said he's a Bears fan? He said they should trade the number 1 overall pick to the Chargers straight up for Justin Herbert.
Oh.
What do you think about that?
I like that one. I think there's a lot of scenarios they're going to have to go through, but I do think it's the one scenario is you keep Justin Fields and you build around him, right? So you got enough picks to do that. You could trade away, do all those things. Or 2, you trade him and trade the picks to try to get better assets around whatever rookie QB. But we know Caleb Williams doesn't want to go there. And he also wants a piece of the team, right?
He wants a lot of things.
He wants a lot of things. The wide receiver, Harrison.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Looks great.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're going to do, but it is something fun to bet on because if they get the right pieces, I might throw on a Super Bowl bet.
On the Bears.
One long shot. If they say, how about this? They keep Justin Fields. They get an amazing wide receiver. They trade away their 10th overall pick or their first overall pick. And maybe couldn't you go from like 1st to like 5th, right? Be like, hey, take my first overall pick. I'll take the 5th. They don't need it. They like that. They can really build up here. I'm excited. I could be a Bears fan next time.
The crazy thing about what the Bears are doing is they could be fooled into making the wrong decision based on the last few weeks. They could be fooled into saying, we're actually good now. Let's run it back with Matt Eberflus. Let's run it back with Justin Fields. Let's trade the picks. And then what if they're not actually that good? So it could be a situation where they put too much recency bias in the end of the season. They should look back at September and say, why did this go so wrong so early, and make the decision from there. But they have lots of options. Mike, speaking of people who have money on playoff bets, let's talk about the NFL officials. Because clearly they have some long-term gains happening. And you reported this a few weeks ago on the pod. You told an interesting story about how probably there's all these illegitimate refs out there who are making money for big-ticket gamblers, and we're not going to find out right now, but likely down the road.
Yes. And the internet agreed. If you go back on our YouTube, there's a lot of comments of like, obviously this is happening. The issue is refs have to be discreet when they're traveling. They don't want people to get influenced by what's going on. And I do think last night after watching that Lions Cowboys game, which the Lions did win, and I'm calling for Commissioner Goodell to come back and say the Lions have won the game because they clearly did.
Wait, what? Do you think he has the power to change the result?
I saw a headline saying Goodell has the power to change the result of a game.
How cool! So
So-
this might happen.
He needs to go back and change the result of the game. The Lions won it. Then there was the penalty, and we at one point I think we agree. Coaching the third try just kicked the field goal and tied the game.
Yeah, Dan Campbell's like trying to go for 2 from the 7. It's like that's not such a good idea. That's
Yeah.
really hard to do. Then they got even closer. I think they had no answer for CeeDee Lamb, which they clearly didn't, and that's why they wanted to keep doing it. But the ref completely missed that. The offensive lineman saying I'm an eligible receiver here.
And there's
He
video.
got it so wrong. There's so much video evidence.
Video evidence.
That the Lions did everything right. Dan Campbell came out and said, I warned the officials before the game. This is a trick play that we have. Look out for it throughout the game. And yet the ref still didn't give him any benefit of the doubt. This is the same refereeing group that a few months ago, the Dolphins were playing the Eagles on a Sunday Night Football game in Philadelphia. The Eagles had 11 penalties called on the Dolphins. The Dolphins had none called back on the Eagles. No penalties called back on the Eagles team. And it was the same refereeing team. This guy apparently is from outside Philadelphia. Super sketchy. It's the same group of guys that keep making these sketchy decisions. It literally changed the outcome of a super important game. Like Eagles, Cowboys fighting for the division. Lions maybe trying to get the 1 seed. Now the Niners are guaranteed the 1 seed. Huge ramifications, all because of a human on the field making the decision. It's a huge problem all year for them.
And now they're off the playoff games, right? They've been like
that crew is
that
off.
crew
I
is now
haven't
off.
heard that. Have
I
you
saw
heard
the
that?
reports that like they're now downgraded to not do playoff games.
How did that just happen? They just did a primetime Cowboys game last night. So it's like, did that just happen this morning?
It happened this morning, yeah. I mean, so it's just the crazy things that are happening, and I don't like it. I don't like that refs are deciding the game. That was a great play. The Lions should have won. Ultimately, I don't know if it really matters. Like, they're still in the playoffs. It's not like it was clinching the playoffs. Maybe was it clinching the NFC?
And they already won the
home?
division, but it was allowing the Lions to possibly be the 1 seed. And now they can't be the 1 seed. They have to play that first playoff game. It affected the Cowboys Eagles in a big way. The Eagles lost a bad game today to the Cardinals, a game they had no business losing. But the Cowboys won last night. So now the Cowboys could actually win the division ahead of the Eagles. Sets off a chain reaction of things.
All right, do you want to get into some conversations that we had earlier this morning? We saw The Rock announce that they are merging the XFL and the USFL, and it's now called the UFL. And I think this is, I don't know where to go with it. I was on board. Remember the AAF boys? We wanted to be.
We love these little football.
I know.
These off-season football leagues that come up and start, and they'd like to change their names all the time.
They do.
Right?
I think with this one, I have hopes that this can actually go somewhere, because spring football would be fun. It would be fun to like actually engage with. I think last year we saw that since they got the TV deals that they were on TV more, because remember the year before, maybe the AAF.
It's hard to find.
That was really hard to find.
Yeah.
It was like shoved away on TBS somewhere. Yeah. I'm hoping this one can be good if they make some sort of agreement with the NFL and almost like a feeder pool. Now, I know that's what college is, but a lot of times these guys in college don't all get a shot at the NFL, right? There's practice squads, all this stuff. So I really want it to be something. I've been on board. Remember years ago when I was like, God, can there only be spring football? And then I never watched spring football.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like you always say it, you never really watch it. I'm here to tell you it's not going to work because it hasn't worked yet. So they combined the USFL and XFL. It's called the UFL now.
UFL, United Football League, starting March 30th.
We just had 2 leagues. Like, we were just learning these 2 new leagues, and now they
know.
changed it again. You made the good point. XFL has real name value. Like,
Yeah.
going back to when they don't hate me, is that what
Yeah,
the guy's
yeah,
name
yeah.
was?
Yeah.
Or don't kill me or something.
When the WWE owned the XFL,
and like,
and it was
all
like,
the violence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, there's name recognition. There's value attached to that. And now, what is the UFL? Like, do we have anything attached to it? People don't.
we
even
have
know what
nothing
it is.
attached to it, but it's like something they're trying to do. And if there's an audience for it, and if they can make a little bit of money, I get it. Like, if I could start a football league, like The Rock's like, hey, I'm going to start a football league. He did it. He merged, and now they're on like national TV with Fox. Obviously, they're on Fox because they announced
The
it on
Rock
Fox.
is all they really have going for them, right? Outside The Rock, I don't
Literally,
know.
that's all they have.
Do we have any quarterbacks in the league that we like to watch?
No, not yet.
Not
But
yet.
there were
You're
some.
right. Brock Purdy might end up in that league.
No,
You're
no,
right.
no,
You're
no,
right
no,
about
no.
that.
There were some players that ended up from the XFL and USFL in the NFL, which was really good.
That is really good.
Do you have? I got a fun topic if you want to go over it.
I like fun.
Okay, this one. Have you heard the news with Tiger Woods? I've been reading into this.
What's the news? I don't know.
The news with Tiger Woods is he might leave Nike.
I'm aware he might leave Nike. It's supposed to be decided right now, December 31st.
So the weird thing is his son is a spokesman for this company called Grayson Clothes or Clothier, something like. Is that no way?
Grayson. This is a Grayson.
Oh my god!
I'm wearing a Grayson right now.
Is
guys.
it really?
This is really a Grayson shirt. Do we like Grayson?
Hold on. So
is it going to be positive, Grayson?
I was like, "There's
I hope.
no way he can be going to this." I went to the website and I'm like, "This is trash." Like
the shirts,
I would
the
never,
Grayson
I
shirts.
would never buy anything.
You would never
from
buy
Grayson.
this shirt.
I would never buy.
Mike, what's wrong with this shirt?
Never buy it.
They're such nice, and they're all $100. They're expensive. You saw that too.
Yeah.
It's an expensive shop.
This is nice little aloe sweater.
That's not a golf brand. That's not what Charlie Woods is a part of.
But I just thought it was weird that he was going to go to this brand. So I'm like, why doesn't he start his own? And then I was reading an article and it was like Roger Federer was an investor or brand face of On Running. Do you know On Running, the shoes?
I'm not aware of it.
So that company went really big. I think it went public. He made a lot of money from it. So I think it's like easier to become a part owner of a company and take it public instead of doing it the other way and starting like the Woods brand or whatever they want to call it, which I think would be better.
Yeah.
But here's the endorsement deal with Nike. In 1996, it was a 5-year deal. He got $40 million. In 2001, another 5-year deal, $100 million. 2006, about $320 million. And in 2013, he got a 10-year deal for $200 million. I just don't know how you can. I don't know if a company you own will make that much unless you go public. And that's what is confusing. And I kind of get it. He's like, okay, basically his son's becoming popular, right? Or how do you see it? Because that's how I see his son becoming popular. He's like, let me invest in this brand. You're the face of it. And it's kind of like a refresh for Tiger Woods. But I just don't see Tiger Woods wearing monkeys on his shirt or whatever.
It's a great shirt. It's a great shirt. Great jungle vibes. Feels great too. Nice collar, different colors. We love Grayson. We'll do Grayson.
So Grayson. So right here, they have Justin Thomas equity.
Yeah.
Because he was dropped from Ralph Lauren.
That was a controversy.
Yeah. Matt Fitzpatrick, he's in it. Luke Donald.
Not many of them.
Not 100. So what made me wonder is why go from Nike to a company that is it Grayson Clothier?
I think that's how their company reads, but it's Grayson. You wear Grayson. I'm wearing a Grayson shirt.
I don't like it. I'm just going to say it right now. I don't like it.
We didn't plan any of this, just so everyone knows. We haven't talked about Grayson all day. I didn't know this was coming. I didn't know my shirt would be attacked. I didn't know the business of Tiger Woods would be invoked here. A few crazy points. Why would Nike let Tiger go? Tiger's still playing golf. Tiger is so synonymous with the red shirt on Sundays, the Nike swoosh on his golf ball, and that famous shot, the Masters, which we played golf this week. Our mutual friend brought it up because it keeps showing up on his Instagram feed the Tiger Woods shot with the Masters. And so it's like these iconic Nike moments that have defined Tiger's whole career. How did Nike and Tiger have a divorce now when he's 48 years old? Like, why is that happening? And Charlie, his son, is like 16 years old. Mm-hmm. So he's not even 18
He's
yet.
pretty good.
He's really good at golf.
Yeah.
But the idea that a 16-year-old is the face of Grayson, I would say I didn't even know Charlie was doing Grayson. And I like Grayson.
So they welcome him as like an ambassador, but then it was the deleted Instagram post. And I'm just curious because the way this goes, it seems like Nike is losing a lot of athletes. Now, some because of like controversy, but there has been athletes that have been leaving the brand and going other ways. It's like they're going to Puma, they're going to Chinese brands that I forgot some of the names, but it seems like Nike's losing their dominance, and you saw it in their stock price dropped a lot over.
It's just recent earnings. That always happens after a bad quarter. They'll be back.
I'm a shoe guy, and I'm not hyped on shoes as much because there's not a lot of.
Because your closet's full.
It is full. It's full. There's also some in storage, but I think the problem is there's not a lot of invention right now with a lot of the shoes and developing like fun things around it. And also I don't think there's a lot of like LeBron shoes. I don't find very like everyday casual wear. And the weird thing is about like Jordan shoes, they still have that like thing of where like I can wear this year round. And I don't know what's going on with the brands and the players. Like I don't know if there's as much deals, but it does seem like Nike at least is going to go towards this way of we're going to do player design shoes instead of like you get your own shoe silhouette, because right now you can get like a Jordan 1. Who's the guy in the Jazz? Not Kevin Durant, but he has his own silhouette. There's another guy.
Who's
Devin
in the Jazz?
Booker.
Donovan Mitchell?
No, Devin Booker.
He's on the Suns.
Yeah. Devin Booker has his own own shoe, all based off of Jordan 1, which is I really liked it. It was like cool everyday shoe.
Wow.
I really got into the shoe stuff, so that's why I was curious about this. This doesn't make any sense for Tiger. Doesn't make any sense for Nike. I don't know what's going on.
I thought it was running out at the end of the year, but we reached the end of the year. We haven't seen official words. Maybe there's a little bit of an extension. Maybe they're going to work it out. My prediction is Tiger stays with Nike because it's too perfect. The two are synonymous with each other, and you said Tiger won't ever join Grayson. So
I mean, I won't wear Grayson.
I love Grayson.
I don't know.
Just so people know, we will do Grayson ads on this show. We will if they pay us to, right?
Of course.
Thank you, Grayson. We are equal opportunity for everyone like that. You roasted my shirt. I want to roast someone, and it's going to be Baker Mayfield on the Tampa Bay Bucks because Baker Mayfield had an opportunity on New Year's Eve to clinch the division for the Bucks. This guy was written off. The Browns gave up on him. The NFL gave up on him. He had a chance to clinch the division at home against Derek Carr, who's been so terrible. And they came out, and I swear the first 2.5 hours of that game, they had 0 points. They had 0 points until late in the fourth quarter. They tried to mount a comeback. Baker Mayfield, you are a fraud until further notice, until you prove that you can win a big game in week 18 with the division on the line, because you could have done it in week 17 and sewed that shit up and had a restful week and start game planning for the playoffs. And now they need to go out and try to win or be completely demoralized and lose that playoff spot, because we know the Falcons lost today, but there's another team in that division. It's the Saints. It's going to come down to the Bucks and Saints now. They let the Saints back in because it's certainly not going to be
not a good time for me. We went golfing, and I mentioned, hey, we should put some long shot bets on.
Yeah.
And I put a long shot bet on the Bucks and the Rams. I thought the NFC was weak. We saw Philly lose today to Arizona.
The Rams nearly lost to the Giants. Weird games here on New Year's Eve. Weird schedule. They stacked it early. There were some weird results. The Rams came out okay against the Giants, but I don't know about those long-term bets.
I like the long shot bets. Like, these are, you never know what could happen. The NFC seems super weak to me. I know the 49ers are now locked in, but if they can get past the Eagles and then go play the 49ers, anything could happen. You never know. So you got to throw those long shots out there. Because obviously it looks like right now, I mean, I think we predicted it. It's San Francisco, Baltimore. It seemed your Miami Dolphins fell to a big loss today.
Well, that was tough to lose to the Ravens, but it wasn't surprising. I told you early on that was most likely going to happen. The Dolphins have a really tough game against the Bills next week for the division, which is like on a different level than the Baker Mayfield Saints game that's about to happen. I don't know what you call that. The Dolphins might not even win the division. Josh Allen and the Bills might be as high as the 3 seed, maybe even as high as the 2 seed, I think is possible if the Chiefs lose to the Bengals at the end of the day.
It's kind of looking like
on New Year's Eve. It kind of looks like they are. So the Bills are coming. Josh Allen is coming. You don't like to hear that.
I don't.
But that would have been a great bet to make several weeks ago, and they were looking dead in the water.
I just don't know if they're a good enough team. I think they make a lot of mistakes. I like Baltimore. I think they're a strong team, and who knows? I mean, obviously KC is not a strong team. They're losing right now 7-17.
It's always dangerous when we record mid-game. They could turn it around and finish it. Like on Christmas Day, you never saw them losing to the Raiders, but that's exactly what happened. When it comes to let's talk about some playoffs. So the playoffs are coming, and on next week's podcast, it's one of our favorites. We always do the playoff draft. And once we know who's in the playoffs, who the division winners are, wild card winners, we'll do a little draft. Whoever wins the Super Bowl will get a big award. We always pay that out really nicely.
We always paid it out. I won last year, right?
Whoever knows.
Whoever
knows.
I think I won.
A few questions for you. Dolphins, Bills. Who wins the AFC East game this weekend? Let's get a little early, long range on it. Who wins the division in Miami? Who wins that game?
If they're in Miami, I think Miami wins it. I think they're a good bounce back team. You know, yes. I think they come back. Yeah. I think Josh Allen makes a lot of little mistakes. I know Tua, sometimes a little shaky out there. You lost one of your who'd you lose today on the field in Miami? What's his name?
Bradley Chubb was tough loss.
So I don't know. I think that's an easy Miami game, but I like that they switched it. Was it always like this, divisional games at the end of the season?
I think the last week of the year is always divisional games. So everyone's playing a divisional opponent next year.
It makes it more exciting.
Okay, there's another division at stake. The Saints and the Bucks have the same record. They don't play each other. Who's going to come out of it?
Who do the Bucks play next week?
The Bucks, I think, play the Panthers. I think the Saints play the Falcons. Both pretty winnable.
Both pretty winnable. I mean, God, I don't know. And they both need it to get in, right?
They do. I don't know who wins the tiebreaker. If they both win, I really don't know. Maybe I should know that, but the Bucks just lost to the Saints, so they might be trying to crunch the numbers on it right now.
I mean, I'd like the Bucks to do it, but I do think our mutual friend has some money on the Saints to win the division.
Another question for you. Do the Seahawks make the playoffs? Right now, they are in a tight game against the Steelers. They have to win again next week because there's teams breathing down their neck. The winner of Packers-Vikings will be right there. The Bears, I think, might be on the horizon.
Really? No way.
Potentially. They're winning that many games with
Wow.
Justin Fields. The Falcons aren't in the mix anymore. Do the Seahawks get it?
I mean, I would like the Seahawks to make it in there, and I know the Rams are also fighting their way in there too.
Yeah.
It's NFC's weird. Everybody's kind of even, so it's like anybody's game. Next week's
Well, the
gonna be
Niners
wild.
aren't even with everyone else.
No,
right?
not the Niners. But
Everyone
I mean,
after
like,
the Niners.
Yeah. But everybody's like 8-7, 9-7,
Yeah.
9-6, whatever. Like numbers add up to 18 or
Yeah.
17. But next week, I think we'll see everybody goes through all the math and figures out here's the scenario. And sometimes it's like 55 games. Like for the Bucs to make this the playoffs, this team has to lose, win, lose, win.
A lot going on with these typically. But week 18 should be good. Lots of division games. We have Saturday night. We have Sunday night. Probably the Bills and Dolphins on Sunday night. I'll be sweating that one for the next 7 days. I don't feel good about it. Josh Allen is better than Tua, so we'll see what happens.
Really? You think that?
Do you not think that?
I don't think that.
You think Tua is better than Josh Allen?
I think this year he's been better.
That's a crazy take to end the year on. We give a lot of crazy takes on this show. That's about as crazy as it gets. You really think Tua over Josh?
This season, yeah.
What about just in terms of
just
forever?
I'm just saying this season.
Who would you rather have in the playoffs?
I think I would rather have the Miami Dolphins offensive team.
Yes. What quarterback?
I think Tua.
Wow. I don't hear that all the time.
Yeah,
I think it's Josh
Tua.
Allen.
That's all I got. I got nothing else on my notes. We got some
games.
This
is an In Real Life podcast. Happy New Year to all of you. Thanks for listening all year, all the last 15 years that we've been doing this. We're about to start drinking. We're going to peak in the next few hours.
Whoa, it's early.
Ahead of 9 p.m. Pacific time.
Check out thesportshangover.com. Go to our YouTube. Subscribe. Go hit subscribe, like, share it with your friends. We want people there. We got a lot of videos, a lot of stuff coming to you in the new year. So Happy New Year. See you. Oh, that's good.